And good afternoon. I'm Ann Vandersteel, and welcome to Steel News. And yes, we are still very much in a war right now, a war with Iran. It's an information war as well as a kinetic war. Today's conversation isn't just about the war, it's about human trafficking. It's about a revolution. It's about a regime change. It's about what happens when freedom is stolen and what it costs to get it back. Right now, as headlines flash about Iran, as the world watches bombs fall and geopolitical forces shift, there are families who have been waiting decades for this moment. Families who have lived through the fall of a nation, families who watched freedom collapse under tyranny, and families who never stopped believing that one day Iran would be free again. My guest today carries that history in her blood. She is the daughter of the Iranian Revolution. Her family served the Shah's cabinet and the military command structure. Her grandfather stayed during the fall and he was tortured. Her relatives fought for a free Iran. They worked to rescue American hostages. They paid a price most Americans cannot imagine. And this morning, she told me something that stopped me in my tracks. For the first time, she feels peace talking about it, about all of it. She does not fear. There's no hesitation, just peace. Why? Because she believes the time for freedom has arrived. Her family would gladly die for a free Iran. That's not rhetoric. That's her lineage. And that quest for freedom, it didn't end overseas. It runs through her veins. It shaped her service. It shaped her mission, because when you grow up watching a nation fall, you dedicate your life to making sure it never happens again. Joining me today is Sheila Gallo. She's the co-founder and director of operations for Lotus Shadows, an organization dedicated to rescuing and restoring children impacted by human trafficking. But her story doesn't begin with nonprofit work. It actually begins with a revolution. Sheila comes from a family deeply embedded in Iran's military and government structure before the fall. Her great uncle oversaw national academies and security forces. Her grandfather was a superintendent of schools at the time of the regime collapse, and he stayed, enduring torture. Her family was part of the White Revolution. They were involved in efforts to free American hostages. Their fight for liberty wasn't theoretical, it was totally about survival. On her mother's side, service runs just as deep. U.S. military aviators and infantry dating back to World War I. So when Sheila says the quest for freedom runs through her veins, she means it. She went on to serve as an enlisted combat role and later specialized in recapture and strategic operational management in the nuclear sector. She protected some of America's most critical assets. Today, that same skill set is applied to a different battlefield, the recovery of stolen children. And as events unfold in Iran right now, for the first time in her life, she says she feels unfearful telling her family's story. And that matters, because this conversation isn't just about the geopolitics happening right now. It's about what freedom costs and what it demands of those willing to defend it. Sheila, welcome. This is fantastic to have you on. I'm thrilled that you're here. And, this conversation has been a long time coming for you and probably for millions of Iranians right now that are watching Israel and United States bomb the ever-loving heck out of your country. But I hope that the Iranians are feeling that the regime change is at hand and that this isn't going to be some kind of protracted long war, because a lot of people don't want to see that here in America.
Oh, and it absolutely won't be the 20-year war. I'm so thrilled, and thank you for having me. And gosh, you cut over to me, and this has been like a roller coaster of emotions, where I'm just driving in the car and I hear a song and it just hits me that they're going to be free. They're free today as of the 28th. And it just, you telling this story made me so emotional. And I'm so grateful, and I'm so proud to be an American, and I'm so proud of President Trump. And the Iranian people are dancing and screaming and crying in the streets just like me. I rescue kids. I've served in the military, and I can talk about certain things without tearing up. But God, what a whirlwind of a couple of days here.
I'm sure I have I have other Iranian friends that I have yet to be able to connect with that left and fled Iran in 1979, ended up going to school with them in elementary school. And their family was actually close to the Shah of Iran. They fled when he fell, and they came to America and were incredible, they still are incredible members of society, very much adopting American culture. and very proud of becoming American. But, clearly what we're watching right now, some are actually calling the most significant military pressure on Iran in decades. So when you hear about nuclear facilities being hit and Trump saying there's a bigger wave yet to come, what goes through you as the daughter of the Iranian Revolution?
I think, thank God for him. So many people pretended that they were going to help, and then they fall short and they just fail to perform. And this is not some small strategy. This was designed. This is supported by other surrounding countries. Even you go back to Plan Ajax. That wasn't just our CIA. That was MI6, British involvement. Everybody supported at the time. And when it worked, it worked. I believe it was Truman at the time. The one attempt was failed. The second, under Eisenhower, it proceeded. And the Persian people, they experienced, there's a couple different terms for it, but it's mostly known as the White Revolution. The people were free. And, this was Iranian women driven freedom. I mean, the families, my family in positions of power, they loved their wives, they loved their daughters. I mean, did they inherently think, oh, I'm just going to go and do all this for women? No, they loved them, they respected them, they heard them. The five-star that helped, who was the architect, one of the architects for Plan Ajax, my family was heavily involved in many different operations that involved safely extracting U.S. hostages, whether they be civilian, military, or in the embassy. But they loved America, they loved freedom, and that five-star general, I mean, his daughter, she happened to be one of the first female police officers in Iran. Now, that wasn't completely an accident that was made possible because my great uncle, my grandfather's brother, was also in charge of the military and policing academies. So she wouldn't say she was the first, but she was the first. She was what drove that. And I admired her so much at the time. Never did I realize how much I would even follow into her footsteps in joining security forces, which at the foundational level, it's a LEO, law enforcement officer of a military nature.
You told me this morning, Sheila, that you finally feel peace telling your family's story. What shifted for you? Is it the military posture? Is it the psychological shift? Is it something deeper?
It's something deeper, and I have to be honest. We needed Trump. We needed Trump. We needed Pete Hegseth. We needed Secretary Rubio. We needed leaders of the world to care about how the stability of Iran would affect their stability and their wealth. The world as we know it will be forever changed for the better. Iran is the state sponsor of almost all terrorism in the world. People have no idea, and this controlling force, it's freedom. It's like people talk about peace in the Middle East. This is the closest you'll ever see. I wouldn't be surprised to see the country of Iran join the Board of Peace itself.
Really?
Really. The Iranians love Americans. They love Americans. I mean, to be honest, they're fake Muslim for survival. So many
Did you say they're fake Muslims for survival?
Fake Muslim for survival. They were geographically born, let's be honest, the wrong place. If they were born in America, they might be Christian. They might be Jewish. They could be Muslim. But a lot of Iranians are proud Persian people. They love Israel. They go back to Cyrus the Great, who freed Israel, who freed the Jews and placed them in Israel. There's deep affection from the people, not the terrorist regime. Two entirely different things. And this filters out to many different countries because who funds it? Iran.
President Trump says the objective is not to destroy Iran's infrastructure, but to create conditions for the Iranian people to rise. In fact, he said the time is at hand where we're giving your government back to you. You need to go and take your government back. Today, he told the New York Times that potentially he could be looking at boots on the ground. From your understanding of Iranian culture and history, is it realistic that the Iranians can rise up and take their government back, or will it require U.S. boots on the ground to facilitate that? And if so, how long do you think we'd have to be there?
Families like mine, uh, Reza Pahlavi, the son of Shah Pahlavi, his people have been planning for this day for 47 long years. When he says, I have a 100-day plan, this is not just himself. These are the families. These are the children. These are the grandchildren of the people that fought for freedom and were creating university for women in Iran. I mean, that was like, no way. That, and most people don't know who Mohammad Mossadegh was, the wielder of hell. This is not a 20-year war. It's so beautiful because they must rise to the occasion. This is their victory with the help of such forces of the United States, from Israel, in support with Saudi Arabia. You'll see Saudi Arabia and Israel will take a huge position in the rebuild of Iran itself. But the Iranian people have wanted this forever. It is, like I said, fake forced Islamic extremism. It's survival.
So this is interesting because this article I'm showing is from the Jerusalem Post, talking about the Pahlavi family has been in the forefront of Middle East news for the past 2 months as a focal point for anti-regime activists who have been protesting in Iran and across the world to denounce the Islamic Republic. So do you see, if Iran topples and the regime is fully removed and the people rise up, will this be a catalyst to sort of denounce the radical Islamic movement that has taken over Europe and is frankly taking over parts of America? I mean, Texas is getting 2 new mosques a month, I think. It's outrageous what's going on in Texas.
And it is. And this is all by design. I mean, as far as I know, I see larger numbers. We have 15,000 known terrorist cells inside of our own country. It is head on a swivel time. I hate to say it so sharply, but if you can carry, now is the time to carry, because this is the only way they can fight back. We will liberate Iran, but they will liberate themselves. This is not something that was developed in 1 month. I can't get into so many of the details of how I know how long this has been developed, but there's a true plan and place for the people to truly rise. And this is not King Pahlavi coming. They would be thrilled with King Pahlavi, a benevolent leader, monarch. They just want to be free, and they know that this is the son of the father. That was the closest thing to American living, to true freedom for men, for women, for children. Of course, there was control, which families were going to get the surgeon when they went up to look at the university wall, where they'd find out what they were going to university for, engineer, surgeon. You could expect that certain families might enter a degree in hospitality per se. I'm not saying that existed, but these things that have been in place, they've been waiting for 47 years. It is, wow. Everything is so locked up. This is not going to be the king. He wants to come in as the democratically elected president. This is going to be so world-changing, so uplifting. You will see a rise in women. You will see strong Middle Eastern women reclaim their God-given right to freedom, but they're going to have to fight for it. Freedom never came free.
So there is some school of thought out there that this may be a different operation. Catherine Austin Fitz was recently on Tucker, and she talks about this. I want to play this clip for you. I want to get your opinion on this.
The war is a distraction from this.
Wait, it's not about their nukes?
No. Iran's central bank counts because their oil and energy is very important, including for China. If you're going to come out with programmable money,
with a revolutionary new payment system,
with digital IDs that are interoperable globally, that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford leakage. Iran right now is the big leakage in the system. Now, Larry Fink and BlackRock have said
We need to move very rapidly.
they're planning on trading all stocks and bonds using tokens.
All investments on a tokenized platform.
What it means is this is going to be,
We have one common blockchain.
potentially $100, $200, $300 trillion market. $100, $200, $300 trillion market.
The wars, the Epstein files, the aliens, AI, it's all to keep you from the truth. The power brokers are trying to preserve US dollar dominance at any costs. All the value is converging into precious metals and soon the digital rails. Put your faith in God and He'll handle the rest.
What is your thought on her take on this?
Would be the opposite of centralized computing banking. Maybe you think Bitcoin opportunity, people don't realize what a freedom that type of currency is, but we will always work to stabilize the dollar. Sometimes people use the wording so carefully because absolutely do we want to maintain US dollar dominance. But this is more than financial. This is freedom from financial bondage as a result of prevention of the continued push for them to create long-range missiles, revamp that nuclear program. These are the people that would bind you, that would have you scan a chip. They're in for that type of behavior. This removes that threat. And of course, naturally, as a partner with such amazing minerals and oil, of course, this is beneficial to the United States, but this is so beautiful in so many ways because it fixes so much of what could have stand to been achieved. At least, these financial people don't understand the power that BRICS was building. This is destabilizing of that system. This is freedom.
And, Iran does sit in a very unique place in the Belt and Road Initiative, right? The trade routes, the natural gas and the oil pipelines that connect the Caspian Sea to the Persian Gulf. These are all really critical when it comes to moving energy and goods, commodities, essentially, from east to west. So understanding that we're hearing that China and Russia may be providing support, I think it's pretty obvious they are. They were helping Venezuela to help the Iranian regime survive. How does foreign backing historically affect the durability of authoritarian regimes? Does China and Russia's support have staying power?
Well, you'll always see them fund two sides of a war and speak one way and do the other. And at the end of the day, China, Russia, adversaries. The building of BRICS is something against the West, against freedom. And you essentially bring that we take control back. We take control back in a revolution. This is so much more than beautiful freedom itself. This is smart thinking. Like people say, oh, everybody's playing checkers while Trump's playing chess. His whole team's playing chess. His whole team is playing chess. This couldn't have been made possible by one man. This is a powerful move that assists the world, and it doesn't matter how much money they throw at this, it's done. Mark my words, this is done.
Oh, all right. In the spirit of, Trump's playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers, Trump admitted that he does not know the succession plan inside of Iran. And this is, contrary to what you're suggesting the succession plan is earlier in this conversation. How dangerous do you think is that uncertainty? And what happened the last time there was a power shift in Iran?
This is, like I said, 47 years of it. The people, the backing, even their own security forces isn't okay with all of the besieged, the evil behavior, just like the Savak. They wouldn't have been able to overthrow it if they didn't have problems with the practices. But it's a different culture, and there are absolute threats. The extremists are going to attack them and attack them and attack them. That's already been anticipated, planned for. The people, Pahlavi wants them to vote for a president rather than jump into a monarchy position. He will be voted in as a presidential democratic king type of leader. And to say that President Trump doesn't know the succession plan, he has an idea. Now, to see it through, for them to live through it, I believe it is a very dangerous time. Maybe the cabinet that is planned to come together to make this rise, they will rise. Will they risk their life? Will they risk all? That's what it takes. Think of how America was born. This is their moment. This is their American Persian moment. This is their Independence Day of 28 February. They must see it through. The plan does exist. There is a succession plan. There is a cabinet. And the 100-day plan encompasses all. What makes the country run? Economics, education. The plan is solid. I am so thrilled. I still have family there. I would never speak comfortably when I say at peace, thinking that, you know, this could potentially put a target on their back again. But there's always been a target on their back.
So European players, right? These different countries are moving somewhat very symbolically, I should say, moving carriers and fighter jets. There's some sort of defensive posturing going on. UK has said they're not going to be on offense, they'll be on defense. From your perspective, and when you look back historically, and I give credit to Barbara Boyd at Promethean Action, she was talking about this in a live over the weekend on Saturday. It was about a 15-minute piece she did talking about William Knox Darcy, who in the early 1900s was responsible for basically getting what we now know today as British Petroleum out of Iran, discovering the oil there, which really wasn't a matter of a discovery because it was floating on the surface half the time. You could see it. It was so oil rich in Iran. But the British got their stronghold in there in the early 1900s, and they lived off that wealth. They fueled their entire British Navy off the oil coming out of Iran, didn't have to pay a penny for it, while the Iranians went poor, and MI6 and our CIA instigated regime changes in the 50s. And then again, later on, after the Shah had worn out his welcome, according to them, they allowed the religious sect to take over. But it was still very much managed. Do you think that the British really are sort of backhandedly supporting the Israelis and the United States in this liberation of the Iranian people, if you want to call it that?
You know, it can go either way. I do think that there is huge support that might not be visible. And it might not be coming from the top because, you know, we can see that they've invested in downfall, unfortunately. But if this didn't work out well, it would put them at risk. So, of course, they're invested in at least survival. Now, the quality of that survival, the quality of freedom, that's a different story. But they are absolutely obligated. They are obligated to be supported. I mean, they're an ally. They're as much as we fought them for freedom, they are our strongest. One of our strongest, or have been historically. But this effort is supported by other countries. I don't lightly mention that Saudi and Israel will be beautiful friends in this effort. It affects them directly. This is an economic explosion for all. And you bet your bottom dollar it is about money. It's about security. It's about freedom. I mean, maybe everybody else doesn't want to be involved with a liberation or a liberation day, but they support it because, you know, they might not say Israel first or, you know, like America first. That's them taking care of their own people, investing in the promise of freedom back to Iran. The thought of democratically created leadership, voting, you know, of the people, for people.
I just want to call your attention. Sam Byler in Facebook just says, "Do you think that the war is going to come into the United States?" I mean, we are aware of terror cells here in the United States. I witnessed it personally of people coming across the border that had Venezuelan passports, but really were Iranian, more like Hezbollah. We've had active cartel activity. Nobody can forget what happened in Colorado with Tren de Aragua taking over apartment buildings. Not to mention just the illegal alien activity that goes on. That's criminal, murderous in this country. Do you expect to see terror cells activated based on what happens overseas if it doesn't go the Iranian way, or the Iranian regime's way, I should say?
I think we should truly prepare for it. If you
Okay.
see something, say something, report it. Look out for your fellow American. Look out for the children. They're already here. They've been here. They've been here before the open border, just not in mass. Now there's so many unvetted Afghanis, then again bankrolled by Iranian regime. They fund all of this: Hezbollah, ISIS, Afghanistan, Taliban, all of this behavior. The radical Islamists will rise to say that they didn't to go and receive that disgusting thing they expect to receive. But they will believe, glory to God, the insanity will come out. What I worry is that so many Americans have had their heads corrupted. They've been so brainwashed that someone was raised Christian has now become Islam. So there is a lot of such imbalance. And people need to understand, when Iran is the state sponsorship of terrorism across the world and their geographical location, what else do you think they're moving? They're moving war, guns, drugs, kids.
Right.
It's proper and accepted to marry a 9-year-old child.
So what is the delicate balancing act that President Trump has to do? Because he's got to apply pressure, right, without collapsing the country's infrastructure. I mean, look what happened to Palestine, Hamas, right? That country has been absolutely wiped off the planet. There's really nothing left to it. But there's a very narrow lane there. Historically, is it even possible to maintain the support of the Iranian people who want to be liberated from an oppressive regime without going across a line that would be damaging to infrastructure and then flipping that support? Because social media is powerful, and there's a lot of social media games going on out there, and a lot of bots are trying to tell people that, one narrative versus another narrative, or a whole bunch of narratives, just to keep everybody guessing and confused. How does he do this?
Well, the people in Iran are not going to change their desire for freedom. I've heard from so many, my own family included, that this is the time. They are laying down it all. When I say the foundations of America, to give all your wealth, to give everything, these people in the streets, that's what they were doing. They were giving life, everything, for fighting for freedom, to get Trump's attention. Please, we need your help to do it, but we're here and we're fighting and we're showing you we're fighting. And this, goodness, I just can't even explain the emotion that they are willing to die. If they are accidentally killed by a bomb, this is what I'm being said. If I'm accidentally killed by a bomb, it was worth it for a free run. I don't need to live to see the day. I will know when I see the flash. I will know instantly that my people, my country is free. This is real words, real Persians, real Iranians on the ground saying my death is okay. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And if they accidentally kill me, Iran will be free. That's what this is to these people. There's no amount of propaganda to remove their desire for freedom. They know this is dangerous. They all know this is dangerous. The people that plan to be that cabinet, that structure, they know the biggest target is on their head, and not just their head. This is take out the whole family, the bloodline, so they cannot rise to come again. That is the long game of this. This is historical fact. They don't just take the one, they take as many of the family to cut the bloodline of power.
So you said your family would gladly die for Iran, Sheila. That's obviously generational conviction, right? But what does freedom mean to the Iranians who've actually never experienced it?
See, history is written by the winners. My grandfather was in charge of education. They threw him in prison 3 times for a reason, because they thought that he was undermining the education system, teaching them the truth and how to rise and to come back again. And he would say, "Oh, no, I'm not. Of course, of course." And the people would scream and scream, "You let him out. You let Abdullah Nemati out. He is hero. He is a good man. He stayed here when he could have fled." The people rose from my own grandfather to get him out of jail. They are fighting. They are teaching everything they can. We have the pictures. We have the history. We have the general and the Shah and 2 uncles took it to 2 different countries and brought it back to DC and put it together. And they're so proud. The 5-star general, my great uncle, my grandmother's sister's husband, he would have the nurses, the American nurses come on and look at this. I'm so fancy. I'm Shah's best friend. And they'd be like, "Okay, old man, I don't know who that is." And it was some young nurse just out of college, and she's just like, "Dirty old man." You bet your buddy he was a dirty old man, but he was so proud of that picture. Surviving it was worth death to preserve a photograph.
Yeah.
So
And there's folks in here that are commenting this. Let me see here. I'll put this back up here. Let's see here. Actually, we have experienced it before. Islamic Republic, which was brought into Iran by the UK. We used to be free. And comment again, our grandfathers and mothers told us everything. Like you said, it's been preserved. So what do Americans then misunderstand about what do we misunderstand most, I should say, about the Iranian people versus the Iranian regime?
You couldn't be more opposite. When I say fake Muslim, I mean they're Zoroastrian, they're Christian, they're anything but of true belief that they should be covered up. To them, freedom is freedom from a hijab. They don't understand necessarily how far they can go, but they've been taught. People always told the truth quietly, and there have been uprisings, and unfortunately, there was not support. And I was so excited in 2008, and Obama he failed to act, and I was like so thrilled to see them setting up for Neda with the green and the black, and I said, "Oh, here it comes. I've been so excited so many times, and this time it's so true." And it happened on the 28th of February, and I believe he would have had it probably 11 February, because I believe that was the alliteration date where the white revolution came, was on the day 11 February. I could be wrong. Please forgive me.
So let's talk about human trafficking now, because this is what you're doing. I'm going to actually pull your website up here. You actually have an event coming up. Let's just put this up here right now so folks can see it. I'm actually speaking at it, which is an honor. But Lotus Shadows is the organization in which you're affiliated, and your experience and your career has led you to now rescuing children. So when regimes like the one that your family has lived under destabilize, trafficking networks thrive. Anytime there's war, this is when the bad guys show up and they take advantage. Are you concerned at all about the exploitation spikes during the chaos that's happening in Iran at this point?
There always will be. You just think a tornado, a hurricane, you don't think your own people are going to take advantage of a sorrowful situation and make it absolute hell on earth for a child, adult, or anything. And of course, this presents a problem. And people will be trying to steal money, children, women, boys, men, anything their heart desires as they flee. They will run and they will line their pockets, whatever they find valuable. If they find a child that valuable, they will steal a child. They will take that child with them. Whatever is of value, and it is good versus evil stuff. These Islamic terrorists, they are evil. And unfortunately, this behavior has been driven from them. This is so much more than freedom. A lot of people don't understand what is happening. They don't even know what's happening right in front of them. But every time there is tragedy, whether man-made, man-created, or organic, weather patterns, it it is always dangerous for the children. I worry about what happened in Hawaii. I worry so much what went wrong in areas like that. Anytime something tragic happens, human trafficking spikes. It is very sad.
Well, so Sheila, you actually specialize in recapture and recovery. If a nation is in collapse, how do criminal networks actually reposition themselves then?
They've, to be honest, they've already planned for this day. They've planned an exit strategy. I mean, they know that the people have been trying to regain freedom, benevolent monarchy, benevolent leadership, or anything that's not Islamic regime. And they have planned for exit. Or did a lot of them get taken out? Yes. But this is not this was expected, or potentially expected. So there is an exit plan. And when they say someone's dead, unfortunately, I'm like, show me the body and then do a DNA test. That's when I will truly believe. And I would like to see the Iranian people hang them high themselves.
So now that we're seeing strikes on infrastructure, and I mean, we're watching Iran strike members of the GCC, members of the Board of Peace. Essentially, they're our allies, because we're not looking at this through the lens of NATO right now. But now that we're seeing these strikes on infrastructure, and it could be a little bit destabilizing in the region across Lebanon, for instance, where they're building a U.S. embassy. Oddly, it's going to house like 5,000 people. It's massive. I've never heard of an embassy that big, but whatever. We'll call it an embassy for now. We've got an embassy in Lebanon. Cyprus is looking for backup. I think the UK is helping there. We've got Gulf bases under attack. So when you have environments like what we see emerging right now, and I guess the question is, what patterns emerge in child exploitation and human trafficking under these circumstances? What should people be aware of?
People, that the most basic things, someone pretending that a child is their daughter. Pay attention to the child. Watch the hand. The symbol for help.
What is that symbol again? Show us.
Open the hand. Put the thumb across and down, and you'll see it. They'll go from the back of them. If you see them doing that, that is a survivor begging for help, or there's someone under duress and they need your help from someone that they're nearby. And it is our duty to step in and pretend that, hey, I haven't seen you in forever. And then you can be completely panicked. Pretend to know this person and be so happy to see them. You might be saving their life. But a lot of times you will see that the child is fearful. You will see it in the eyes. You will see the lack of warmth and them being aggressive or grabbing the child. Look for marks. Look for malnourishment. Emotional maltreatment is the biggest giveaway. The look of the child, the look of the young woman, and see something, say something. Not just terrorist activity, human trafficking, the children. For God's sake, people, wake up. You can save lives. And there's nothing more rewarding. I had no idea. I was so good at the opposite. And funny how it really came so full circle. All the tools of war were meant for me to utilize them to save life. And it's the gift of life every time. My teachers didn't tell me, oh, you're in for a reward. You're in for what it's like to give birth to a child. Every time. It's a gift that I never asked for. You're giving hope. You're giving potential freedom to this beautiful baby, this old man, this young woman. It doesn't matter, because we specialize in the rescue, the extraction of the child. To what we do, we vet long-term aftercare and get them placed, and we maintain a relationship, but it's extraction to aftercare. But the process that you go through, and you realize everything that I thought I knew I didn't know. All of this is so beautiful. I was going to go in as a linguist, but I ended up going security forces. I was a kindercare teacher, a teacher's assistant, and I was making lunch because the lunch lady cleaned out, and I was low on the totem pole. So the director calls me and she's like, oh, Sheila. She's like, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And I was there to see the second one, and we couldn't show the kids. And the kids, we had parents that worked in the city. I was only about an hour and 15 minutes away from the city. The whole place was cleaned out in an hour. So when I say 9/11 set me on my path, it was always about the kids, but I didn't know. It was about my family. It was about freedom, that this can't happen here. I won't have it. I'm going to go in combat. I'm going to go enlisted. I'm going to do it all. And I'll.
So you enlisted after 9/11?
Yes. But I waited for the war to rage. And I was like, oh, yeah, time to go. And it was March 11, 2003.
Wow. That's wild.
March 11, 2003, I started my journey into what would result in the recovery of children. And I have had such a beautiful opportunity to have the most wonderful teachers in the world. The people that I know for sure have saved more children more correctly and safely, kept their team safe and saved children than anybody else in the world. And how beautiful that they shared that gift with me. I didn't want to be doing this. I didn't want to be doing this at all. I wanted to be sitting on a beach with my kids and my husband and my dogs that won't be quiet. And, and it just kept coming and coming, and people kept telling me. And then we went to go build it for some millionaire who had never had any intention of saving children, but literally to exploit us, and we had to investigate them. And I went to go to these wonderful former agency folks and said, okay, I think I need some training. I need specific training on exactly this type of recapture. I don't want to say recapture, but recovery to get them back. And, I met them and their program director. I know you're supposed to talk about yourself, but these wonderful people that are teaching, it's the Association for the Recovery of Children, ARC. And when I met the program director, my soul touched hers, and she said, oh yeah, that will happen. If someone's looking for fame and fortune, they're not the right fit. And then I said, what do I have to do? And they're like, grab 4 of the people that you trust the most in the world that want to go save kids and go do it. And that's what we did. And we're comprised of nuclear operators, SOF members. My husband is also the CEO and co-founder, and he comes from Area Search Platoon. He'll tell you he's an electronics technician. He's a humble guy that saves kids. Anti-piracy ops off the coast of Benghazi. And sometimes, you train for something you never do, but he was willing to give his life for this country all the same. And he has beautiful training in recovery, searching for bombs and bodies. But now we're looking to set them free to save lives.
So you've worked as a strategic asset in recovery, and when a regime is cornered like the Iranian regime is, does it liquidate the assets, including the people that it may be in the process of trafficking or using as human shields or whatever? What happens in these circumstances?
They will take as much as they can, but that overwhelming, powerful first blow, no matter what planning you have, you can only steal so much. And infrastructure, we've mentioned infrastructure, just buildings and say schools or whatever, hospitals that they might destroy. Persians are smart people, engineers, architects, surgeons. That's my family were, and they were expected to be nothing less, at least here in America. And they were positioned to be that in Iran as well. But these are sharp people, and they will build it all. They will build whatever is broken in beautiful freedom and beautiful gratitude that they are really going to build. You think they care if they don't have a building? The surgeon will treat them in the streets. That's how serious this fight for freedom is.
So what does a recovery operation look like, Sheila, in a region that has been destabilized, or in any community that has been destabilized? It can be right here in the U.S.
Sometimes you plan and you think you're going to be able to go, and you can be looking right at them, and it's not the right time, and you have to regroup. That's one of the hardest things.
Wow.
We're Lotus Shadows for a reason.
How often does that happen?
Not so many times that we've actually had to pull away, but I will tell you, thank God that I am planning always for the worst. And instead of having 2 contingencies, I've got 4. And we've had to use them all and even adjust Delta plan. and you can plan for A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
A great start. My teachers even said this, and it's everything that's in between. It is management of chaos. And in fact, that is exactly what I did in the military. I fixed it. I fought with everybody and we fixed it.
So how does your background in nuclear asset recapture translate into recovering children? Because one's radioactive and the other one's a living, breathing human being.
So I mentioned Shadows, our name, Lotus Shadows.
Yep.
Basically, I have an amazing background in moving things right in front of people's faces and them knowing nonetheless that something massive just occurred and it's just another day. I could be moving anything in front of anyone and they have absolutely no idea what occurred whatsoever. I was part of the largest, I have to be careful of what I say, even though it's in a performance report. I don't feel comfortable. A good strategic operational manager is not going to tell you everything because it's garbage to do so. It's a threat. But a movement that was the largest of its kind, in fact, 2 of them. I modernized systems to keep things just no hiccups in our security, moving things around. Nobody had any idea. I was afforded great opportunities because of my understanding of all that went into the process of moving such assets. We're going to say assets.
Mm-hmm.
And what we would do is, we'd strategize. We had backup plans, but I was the person that would be in the tower. I would be watching the movement itself. And if you were making a mistake or if somebody was coming, I was the eyes of what would be occurring. And man, did I keep stuff from getting messed up. But my role was to defend the defender, not just the asset, but to defend the defender. And in some instances, everybody's screwing up something. So we were fighting for our right to party. Who was the one finding out what they did before anybody else did and saying, we got to fix this and we got to fix this and I need a paper trail to fix? That was me. I was an airborne helo nuclear operator, but I was also a major accident investigator and electronic security system specialist and instructor. So assets, and imagine what controls the safety of that electronically, and then strategic management of any types of processes. So when you're moving something in front of people and you want no one to notice, that's how it relates to the recovery of children.
Of course.
By the time they realize that we've taken that child from them, we're already at aftercare, and they're just as confused as the mother they stole that baby from when she realized her baby was missing. They just didn't experience anything other than the heartache of a financial or a disgusting toy.
Yeah. You've said in the past what happened in Iran must never happen in America. And when you look at instability politically or culturally, do you see the warning signs that also correlate with exploitation patterns? In other words, when you see a country kind of going through what Iran is going through right now, does that correlate to opportunities for exploitation? Are there patterns that are in a region that's destabilizing that also emerge around children that are stolen and trafficked? Is there something tumultuous going on typically in that environment where the child is that would make it lend itself more easily for the child to be stolen and trafficked?
Well, yes, the chaos, the hurry of the people. They're running, they're looking at their wife, they're looking at their children. In that chaos, that monster is waiting for you to turn away and not see your child. But the network itself, the worldwide network of human trafficking, this is devastating for them. This really ruins a pipeline that has been used, not just a financial pipeline, but a movement pipeline for the activity to move through certain countries and to not be prosecuted or anything alike. This disturbs the network. So you will see, my fear is violence. The cells that are inside the United States, the insider threat, who is here, be prepared to fight for your neighbor, be looking for that child in the chaos of any country. So I'm not just saying Iran in that region, I'm saying in America, when and if something happens, if if you can. And I know some people run, and man, you don't know that you're going to step in front of a gun till the day you do. I could never be Secret
Right.
Service because I'd die for a bump. And I just, I was tested in that way. And a lot of us have been, but you don't know what you can do, but you just pray, say, God help me, and grab that baby and move them back. If you see the family has passed or something, you just keep your eyes open. Be cognizant of your surroundings for every type of thing that can come at you. Today's dangerous days. We're so divided, but with the children and with the Epstein stuff coming out, and we need to keep talking about it. We need to keep talking about. People are in utter disgust, and they're coming together on that one issue.
So what are you seeing in terms of the Epstein conversation and everything coming out that builds credence into the fact that we have a massive problem in child trafficking and exploitation in this country? Where are you finding the source evidence in the Epstein docs that just scream right now that everybody needs to read?
Everybody has been sending me so much material. It's so hard to go through. I mean, I have 128 pages to read after our phone call, maybe something like that. And the name redactions of who committed the crimes or who was involved is just asinine to me. People need to understand that this is everyone. This is not right versus left. This is good versus evil. This is our entire world as we know it. People think Roseanne Barr, oh, well, she was nuts. And now Nicki Minaj says, oh, yeah, they're eating kids. And I'm like, I hate to say more. Keep talking about it. Like I was telling people, keep talking to Iran. Be their voice. Keep talking about the children. Keep uniting for the children. Because they say, oh, that America will fall. I've heard it said, Pam Bondi said America would fall if we went after exactly what this was. And it's not just America. It would throw the world into chaos. They control the shipping. They control the world banks. They control it all. Epstein Island was their Disneyland to the behavior at large. I'm not minimizing it. I'm trying to explain that this is such a massive problem, and how I found out was just so fast in the rescue business. And I was told, hey, listen, this is why we do as many as we can, one at a time, one family at a time, whatever it takes. This is the stuff that's going to get you killed. Do whatever you want to do. But I was told in such a kind, maternal way, not don't go investigate it. Be very careful, because this is, wow, you did find this fast, but this is the monster. The monster is that the world is involved. This is such a design that we're not self-sufficient. We're dependent on import, export all over the world. Right. Attack the American farmer, attack the Dutch farmer, attack all of it, so that we can't survive collapse, because this would ensue collapse. So when you see the freeing of the Iranian people, it is so optimistic at the opportunity and the people that are involved that would take care of people fighting this fight. These are these Iranian people who love America that would fight for babies and women around the world. And it is kids, male children and men.
Do you think, Sheila, that the liberation of Iran is going to be somewhat of a line in the sand for the end of human suffering and human trafficking? Is Iran representative of more than just getting rid of a religious sect, a regime, an Islamic regime, and liberating for people that have come from religious backgrounds? Is it more than that? Are we going to see a change across the world, frankly?
We're going to see absolutely a change across the globe in so many ways. Economic change. It's almost like we're on the good side of risk at the moment.
Is BRICS a key component of that? And the fact that they use a gold-backed basket of currencies, is that critical towards stability and world peace from where you're sitting?
Financially, whoever is controlling the financial markets is, there's always threat. When we were talking earlier about the American dollar, we need to keep that number one. The central banking, the computed banking, and any type of scanning device, it is the alternate of that. So think in terms of American freedom, financial freedom, pushing the dollar, electronic currency type of like Bitcoin, but not central banking, electronic banking. They can shut you off. That's what they want. Just like it's the same concept of these are the same monsters that are controlling the trade, the banking. The more control they can take, they're going to take. You hear Javier Milei say, don't give them an inch. This is that, but it's not right versus left. They're all involved. It's one big club, and we're not a part of it. And just like George Carlin said, and it's sicker than sick. This is like the world itself. The whole world is a psyop that is invested in this type of behavior because they don't have a choice, because they fund the monsters that control the world, that would destabilize the world. You think of war-torn, impoverished places, the entire world would look like that unless everybody unified. Americans are amazing under struggle. We come together, we take care of each other. But utter chaos, and the alternative, there is no question. We have to continue to fight for freedom from all of it. But when we talk about trafficking, would it mitigate all the trafficking? In order to even rescue all the children and adults in the world that are being trafficked, we would need something as big as the United States prison system, but in every country in the world. And you'll never get rid of it, because this trafficking has existed since the beginning of man. It is the human, it is the human condition. This is where God gave you a choice and you chose Satan. And you can't stop that from being a part of the human condition of choice. So these monsters have been here from the beginning, that were willing to do this behavior, and how to control their ability to continue satanic behavior. And 50 to 60% of trafficking happens by a family member. So unfortunately, when you say destroy and remove trafficking, there will always be someone trafficked. There will always, prostitution, the oldest job known to man. It's heartbreaking, but it is reality. And I wish I could be the super optimist, because I am full of hope. But what this looks like is the best version possible moving forward today to get towards a somewhat utopia.
Fantastic. Sheila Gallo, we have, you have an event coming up that I'll actually be participating. Lotus Shadows has a Save the Children fundraising dinner Sunday, April 19th, in just a couple of months, actually, not even, from 2 to 6 o'clock in Venice at the Venice Community Center. Folks can find out more about this if you go to lotus-shadows.org. And in fact, I have the website on the description box if you're watching this on Rumble or YouTube. Facebook, it's also published out there as well, Lotus Shadows. And general admission is $30. If you want a vendor booth, it's $75. And if you want to sponsor a guardian table, it's $1,000. I think it's a wonderful organization. It is a 501c3 nonprofit, and their tax ID number, everything is listed. So please, folks, our children are our future. And if we value the future, we must value the children. And as I keep saying over and over, I said it on the trafficking space last night. How do you make America great again if your families aren't great, if your children aren't great? That is the future, and that's the cornerstone of our country, of the families. That's what's made our country great, and that's what will make us great into the future. In fact, it makes every country great when the children are valued and protected and loved. Ending human trafficking, particularly child trafficking, has to happen. And Sheila Gallo, you are one of the women on the front lines, and I know you know and work with people like Mary Flynn O'Neill, General Flynn's sister, who runs the America's Future organization. She's the president over there, but she's very involved in human trafficking and CPS, as am I. And that is another form of trafficking. So it has just been an honor to have you on today. I'd like to give you the floor to kind of, land the plane here on where you see things right now.
I see things. I believe we should be very hopeful. We need to be praying for our troops right now. We need to be keeping our eyes open. You need to be looking at what your kids are exposed to. You think they're playing a game. Please excuse me. They're grooming them through the video games. They're pretending to be 10-year-old children. They're giving them the toys in the video games, and then they're saying, oh, go to the stop sign 2 houses away. I know you can't leave, and I'm going to give you the plushie for my game. My mom's just going to stop at the stop sign and I'll throw it out. The child leaves the house. This could happen in 2 weeks. This could happen in 2 years. They leave the house to go get the plushie just 2 houses away, and they're gone forever. Pay attention to what they're looking at, and kids are smart. They know how to hide this from you guys. We are a human trafficking rescue organization, and we could use all the help in the world. And a lot of times it was so uncomfortable to say, well, how can we help you? We need help to fund the missions. It was so hard to say that we need funding. People don't realize everything it takes to make this happen. And thank you for listening. And I hope that you can support us. And if possible, please attend our event on 19th April at the Venice Community Center in Venice, Florida. And thank you also, Anne, for being a part of that program. It means a lot to me.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, as I said, I'm very focused on child trafficking through the Child Protective Services agencies that are plaguing 50 of our states, including our federal government, American Children and Families, and the funding that comes out of the federal government. We've got to stop that funding because it's just feeding parasitic non-governmental organizations and organizations that don't have the best interests of children and families. They are actually more inclined to keep you separated and put your child in harm's way. And it's been proven through the Secretary of State's Trafficking in Persons report on 2019 that the foster care system is the #1 place for child predators to go and harvest children. So, this has to end. We can't have a great future without great kids. So, Sheila Gallows, thank you so much for your time today. I truly, truly appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too. Well, I can say this much. That lady is fierce because what we talked about today, it's bigger than headlines. It's bigger than the bombs that are flying in Iran right now. And it's bigger than all the political parties, including the Uniparty that I recognize coming out of DC. It is bigger than any one administration or any one regime. This is totally about freedom. And we have to consider that when a nation like Iran is in the process of falling, the first thing that disappears is truth, because we're getting so much information flying around right now. We don't really know what's true. But, when you start to sift through a lot of it, you can start to find the truth. The second thing that disappears is the safety. And yes, people's lives are definitely in jeopardy. I think within the first couple of hours, the United States bombing runs took out the supreme leader and 40 of his regime. But the third thing that disappears, sadly to say, is children. And anytime you have destabilization anywhere in the world or in your community or in your home, that's when children are at most risk. And when regimes are under fire like the way they are, they're fighting for their right to survive. Militias will fight for power. Superpowers will posture on the world stage. But then you have the shadows. And that's where our conversation ended today. In the shadows, you have traffickers that move children. And we know this because history has proven it over and over again. So, folks, right now we are being challenged with governments that are destabilized. We're looking at their infrastructures that are fracturing. And we see security forces around the world right now, particularly for us, they're stretched pretty thin. This is how exploitation grows. It's like a cancer. When you don't have law enforcement close at hand, that's when trouble brews. So they love chaos, right? They love it. And the traffickers will look for situations like this. Chaos is basically oxygen for all of these criminal networks. That's why this conversation matters. Sheila Gallo doesn't speak about freedom as a theory. She and her family lived during the fall of Iran. They endured the torture. They survived regime collapse. They waited decades for the possibility of freedom to return. And today, as the world watches Iran again, she says she feels the peace for the first time telling her story. That should tell you everything you need to know. All right. This is generational for them. It's been very expensive. But to the Iranians and to Sheila Gallo, it is very sacred because without freedom, vigilance is extremely fragile. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. This has been my honor to sit down and talk with Sheila, because Lotus Shadows exists because somebody has to step into that dark space. Somebody has to do the recovery. Somebody has to recapture these beautiful souls, and somebody has to fight for the ones who cannot fight for themselves. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to continue to watch what's unfolding in Iran. We'll listen to the president's speeches, listen to world leaders talking. But as we hear the projections of weeks or months, ask yourself, who's watching the children? Freedom is worth defending, but it also must be worth protecting. I appreciate your time. I'm Ann Vandersteel, and this was your Steel News.
Food security or food sovereignty. Every time we buy food, we choose. Glyphosate exposure is exploding, and people are asking, why is food so expensive? This is why we do what we do. Organic fields, thriving orchards, the purest ingredients straight from the earth. From our farms to your family, we do the testing so you don't have to. You save time, you save money, and our regenerative farms continue to grow. It's time to remove what does not belong. Rebuild with cleaner inputs. Support the farmers with the future in mind. This isn't a trend, it's a shift. We still have a voice. We still have a choice to vote with our dollars for a healthier America today. Tap the link.
Are you ready to take your health back? At VandersteelHealth.com, I trust Purium's powerful superfoods to fuel my body with clean, plant-based nutrition. And in a world filled with toxins, Biomedic is designed to help support your body's natural detox process, even from glyphosate exposure. Real nutrition, targeted support, no junk. Go to VandersteelHealth.com and take control of your health today.